Welcome to the Scalable Marketing Machine Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Hajar, marketing consultant for female founders and creator of the Scalable Marketing Machine Accelerator. I've helped dozens of women grow and scale their businesses from 6 to 7 figures and beyond, helping founders like you to implement my proven growth system that focuses on brand communication, marketing strategy, building your lean team, and leadership. On this podcast, we talk all about what it takes to get to the next level in marketing and in life, focusing on practical, tactical advice that will help you grow your business and explode your revenue. Are you ready to learn? Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Scalable Marketing Machine Podcast. We have reached nearly the end of Q1, which absolutely blows my mind how incredibly fast the quarter has flown. But the last couple of weeks, actually really this whole quarter, here in the podcast, I've been very intentional about focusing on brand communication strategy, because having a tied together, intentional, strategic brand communication strategy is a foundational piece of your marketing program for your business. So we talked about how to create a brand that's connected to your core values. We talked about how to create a messaging matrix that maps your prospective customers and clients' pain points, mapping that to the solutions that you provide. How do we create a brand personality that really stands out? How do we use persuasive messaging to help move our clients into action, our prospects into action? All of these things that we've covered this quarter. And I've done this intentionally in helping you to build that foundation, because the next piece of my Scalable Marketing Machine framework is all about our marketing growth strategy. So in next quarter, that's what we're really going to be focused on, is how do we create a marketing growth strategy that really drives ROI? How do we really create those marketing systems in our business that we can really put on autopilot, right? And that's growing and really driving results for us, so we can focus on the most important things for our business that truly drives those leads and sales, right? Those things like the creative messaging that we need to think about, how to really show up as a leader, right? But to tie a bow on the brand communication strategy, I really want you to think about these pieces that we've discussed in this past couple of weeks. And if you haven't been following along of the podcast this year, I would encourage you to go back. We started at episode, I'm going to tell you what number it is, 194. So if you go back to episode 194, you can kind of start this journey and kind of go through this process alongside with me, and just take, over a couple of days, some time to make sure that these foundational pieces of your brand are tied together and they're strong going into the next quarter. So the reason why this is so important is that if you're executing things for your marketing, like you're doing content strategy, you're showing up on social media, you've built funnels, sales funnels, and you're running ads and all these things, and you do not have a effective brand communication strategy, you're going to be wasting a lot of time, and you're going to be wasting a lot of money. Because if you're executing things for marketing without having a solid brand foundation, right? Understanding who exactly you're selling to, really nailing down that ideal client avatar and getting them, the right messages at the right time. It doesn't matter how much you dance on TikTok, it's not going to work for you. Okay? Your brand communication strategy is important. And again, I've said this again, but your brand is not your colors and your logo. Your brand is what is the value that you bring to your customers and clients? What's the problem that you solve? How do you make their lives better, right? And how do you communicate it into a way that they understand, right? Again, many times people simply don't understand how you can help them. Maybe they don't understand what you do. They don't understand your brand. You don't understand how you're going to help their lives. That's the linchpin in all of the success of a business, is making sure that people who learn about your brand understand how you can help them make their lives better, right? And build that desire to purchase with you. That's how we keep that economic engine running. So this is our reset moment, right? Maybe you have been following along, you've learned a lot. This is where the rubber meets the road. how can we take the next week or two of this quarter to make sure that not only do we have our brand tied together, but that we have it documented, okay? To remind you, the Scalable Marketing Machine, the framework that I've used for 15 years now as a marketing director and a chief marketing officer for startups, growth startups and scale-ups all around the world. I've worked with businesses that have created tens of millions of dollars of revenue in their business. I've worked with founders that have built billion-dollar businesses. This framework works, but you need to be conscious of mastering the basics here. And when it comes to marketing, the basics are making sure we have our brand communication strategy, one that works and is effective for us, having a marketing growth strategy, which we're going to be talking about all of next quarter, then building out the right team to execute on that strategy for you so you're not executing it all in your business, right? And the last piece of the puzzle is showing up as a leader, okay? Many of you out there, many of you founders that are, in that early, that high six figures and just starting that 7-figure range, you want to grow. If you dream of doubling your revenue this year, you need to understand how to create your scalable marketing machine, how you show up as the leader, as the CEO of your business, not the one that's in the weeds. You need to keep that 10,000-foot view of your business. And one of the most impactful, important ways to do that is by doing a quarterly reset, by really doing a quarterly review and goal planning for the upcoming quarter. That is exactly how we do it. That is how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to build this scalable marketing machine inside of our business and truly set ourselves up for massive growth and massive success this year. So what are the few things that we can be doing? Well, we can go back and listen to the several past couple episodes since the beginning of the year where we went step by step through all of the brand pieces. But if you've done that already, then I want to make sure that you have those brand elements documented. Make sure that you're very clear on who you serve. You're very clear on what your brand values are, how you bring that to life, what your brand voice is. These are all the elements that are going to create a very strong brand foundation. The next thing I want you to do is make sure that all of the people that are working inside your business, whether they're working on marketing or sales or finance or whatever, that they understand what your brand is all about. What makes you special, right? What is the vision you have for your company, right? These are the things that we should start thinking about and strategizing about at quarter when we're about to start a new quarter. Now, if you've went through a yearly planning process back in December, one of the very first things that we can do in addition to all of this brand communication review is to go back and look at those goals that you set. Check back in with them because a heck of a lot of things happen in the past couple weeks as we get the quarter started. There's a lot of things that distract us. There's a lot of things that throw us off course. And again, your biggest value to your company is to be the leader. And that means maintaining that 10,000-foot view of what is most important. Okay? Those are the things that will help your team to execute on the things that they need to do that are going to drive your business forward, that's going to help you to achieve the goals that you have, achieve the KPIs that you set back in the beginning of the year, and make sure that you actually get to the place that you want to go to. So I invite you now this week, your homework, okay, is to sit down and make sure you have your brand communication pieces documented. Okay. And if you need some help getting started and you sort of have been halfway listening to all of these episodes, go to uglyventures.com/resources, download a brand guide. So the free brand guide is called How to Build a Brand That Gets People Talking. It's going to walk you through many of the exercises and the teachings that we had in all of these past couple episodes and help get you started. Okay. This guide's there's a workbook element to it, so there's some exercises in there. It's going to help you kind of document and get all these things down. Once you do that, I want you to take a peek at all of that you've accomplished in the past 90 days. I want you to look at, goals that you set for the first quarter. What is the progress on them? How far did you get? What roadblocks did you run into, right? What are the major points of focus for the upcoming quarter? I want you to do all of this on your own. And then I want you to sit down with your team and I want you to have a discussion on the work that they did. What worked or didn't work for them? What support do they need moving into the next quarter? I don't want to give you too many guidelines here, but I want you to start thinking about how can I, in the most minimal way, get these things done? Because that's going to help you step into that leadership role. Okay, I don't want you to think that you need to clear like 7 days out of your calendar for planning. Just go to a coffee shop in an hour or two and sort of do all of this brand stuff where we're putting it down on paper and have a conscious look at your calendar and some of the goals and the progress that you've made. Look at any of the metrics that you have from the previous quarter and just take stock of what worked and didn't work. I think a lot of times when we're transitioning from the doer, the executor, and kind of doing all of the things in our business to the CEO and leader, we get stuck because we don't move forward because we think we need to have everything perfect and that we need to really like show up as this ideal kind of Oprah style leader in order to actually be a true leader in our business. And that's absolutely wrong. I think if we just take these bite-sized pieces and say, hey, I haven't really been doing team goal planning really well. Let's see if we can do a really good session with everyone, even if it's an agency or a virtual assistant or whatever. Do a goal planning and do a review of the previous quarter and talk to them about what they think is working and not working in their business. Taking this simple step will be incredibly powerful and beneficial going into the next quarter. And documenting what is going to be our goals for Q2 and getting buy-in from everyone that works in your team, right? Having them understand what you're trying to achieve. Oftentimes, we're not communicating well enough and we're not treating the people working in our business as a team because maybe deep inside of our hearts, we don't think that we are running a legitimate business, right? We look outside at everyone else and we think that they have something that we don't know, right? That they have it more together. But one thing that I can tell you with absolute certainty, I've worked with incredibly accomplished founders. I've worked with founders that have graduated from top universities in the world, some of the smartest folks I've ever met. But behind the scenes, everyone's just trying their best. Not everyone has, everything consistent, everything perfect all the time. It's about taking stock at moments like this at the end of the quarter, resetting and making sure that you have making an effort to put these fundamental things in place, like a quarterly review and planning session. Doing one on your own so you can have an idea of the things that you want with no distractions or input from anyone else, and then bringing that to the team for input, for ideas, for brainstorm. And just, again, it doesn't have to be so formally structured. I run into a lot of founders that, they need the exact detail bit by bit in order to do it. And I think that often this holds us back, right? It doesn't need to be perfect, right? You just have to get it going and get into this rhythm of really playing the quarter, really getting your team buy-in, really setting some metrics and targets for yourself, for the team. Because each and every quarter that you go through doing that, setting those targets and tracking it, you're going to get better and better at doing it. And it's the practice of doing it and having that experience that's going to help you show up stronger as a leader, right? And it's going to help you also set better targets and set better goals. The other thing I want to mention, which I've talked about a couple times on the podcast, is how do we measure progress and how do we set targets for our team? There's two types of targets that we can really set for them: quantitative and qualitative. So a quantitative is really setting for our team things like a weekly newsletter. So every week it's kind of the quantity things are coming out, or X amount of social posts, or X amount of blogs that need to be, or X amount of reviews we need collected. It's about a final number of actions that someone's doing, right? That's a qualitative, right, data that we can be tracking. A quantitative data is really the numbers that reflect performance. So the percentage of engagement, or the number of leads, or the open rates on things. We can be setting these two different types of metrics for our teams, the two different types of KPIs. And honestly, I would say setting 2 or 3 KPIs for each of your team members, it's going to be a game changer because it's going to help them understand what does success look like for their role, right? And give them a chance to sort of pull and stretch themselves a little bit. And when we have smaller teams and we're sort of in growth mode and maybe we can't pay people a ton and sometimes we get into this mindset of we don't want to bother them or we don't want to ask too much of them. And I say that's a huge mistake. And this is where on this quarterly reset, I want you to reflect and say, have I really been treating everyone working in my business as a team? Have I really showed up as a leader consistently? Have I really been clear on what they should be working on and what success looks like for them? These are the tools that we give our team as a leader that's going to help them excel. And by the way, it's the things that we can do as a leader that's going to keep people excited and engaged to work with us. If we are entrepreneurs, it means that we should be surrounding ourselves with growth-minded folks and individuals. And maybe we can't be paying them the most, or maybe we can't be giving them benefits and all the PTO they want, or sleep pods and a cafeteria like Google, right? But we can be supporting them in their growth, right? And their learning, and help them to be the best version of whatever it is that they want to be, right? That's how, developing those deep relationships with the people that we work with breeds loyalty and involvement in our business. And this is the most important thing we can do as we grow our business to the next level, is get a troop of enthusiastic team members that are going to help us. Because as my former client and mentor, Dan Martell, loves to say, our job as leader is to build the people, and then the people build the business. We can't do it on our own. So if we recognize that if we're going to get our business to the next level, whether that means the impact that we make in the world, or the revenue that we are able to bring in from our business, or the life we're able to give ourselves and our family, we can't do it on our own. We need to understand that showing up as the leader, right, is the way that we're going to get all of those things that we so wish for our lives and for ourselves and for our communities. So this is the moment. This is the reset moment where you have a chance, even if you feel like you've gotten thrown off course. We all get thrown off course. The point here is not to have it perfect, that you never get thrown off course, that you never get distracted. But what you can do is make sure that once a quarter at least, you go back to the basics, making sure that you are aware of what has happened the past 90 days, do a review, that you spend time consciously uncovering what's working, what's not working, and that you make a plan to go forward. And just this practice, it's like a muscle. If you keep exercising this muscle, it's going to get stronger. It's going to get better. And I'm here to support you. And if you're thinking, the quarter has ended, I feel lost, I feel like I can't concentrate, I can't stick to my plan, I don't know what I'm doing, I feel alone, I feel unsure how I'm going to get to all of these goals and dreams I have for myself, I invite you to take a look at the Scalable Marketing Machine Accelerator. This is a 12-month accelerator program where I work with you hand in hand, getting my hands dirty in your business to be your chief marketing officer. I teach you all of my methodology, all of the playbooks that I have for brand, for marketing growth strategy, for team, for leadership, all of my templates, all of my SOPs. We meet each and every week where we go through the specific things going on in your business. You get my feedback. You leverage my experience. I help you hire the right people. I help you make the next move. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, you can check out all the details at uglyventures.com/accelerator. UGLI, so it's ugly with an I, VENTRES.com/accelerator. And you can get all the details there of what the program entails, all of the bonuses, all of the one-on-one attention you'll get from me, all of that stuff. I would love to help to make your dreams a reality this year. And I don't want another quarter to pass by with you feeling like you haven't made massive progress in your business. Because again, each and every day, each and every month, each and every quarter, we're taking those small steps to get us to that final destination, which are those goals that we have for ourselves. So if you're feeling lost, I'm here for you. But if you just have a question and you just want, my advice on something, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. That's where I hang out. You can just connect with me, Victoria Hajar on LinkedIn, and you can send me a DM anytime. But take this seriously. That's my hope for you. I know it's something that I struggled with for many years in my business, really taking myself and my business seriously to the degree that it has to be taken seriously to really get to the next level, right? The way your business is going to get to the next level is by way of how you get yourself to the next level and up level, not only your knowledge as a founder, as an entrepreneur, but really the discipline to sort of show up, right? Because if you keep going forward doing what you've always done, you'll get the results you've always had. And we don't want that for you, not this year, right? This is the year that everything changes. So next quarter starts. Next week, we'll be talking all about marketing growth strategy and the specific tactics that you need to build the systems that will set you free in marketing. So I hope to see you back here next week for the Scalable Marketing Machine podcast.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episodes. Thanks for sticking around with me and listening all the way to the end. I really appreciate you as an audience member, and I hope that you found this helpful. If you did like this episode, it would mean so much to me if you subscribed, if you rate and review this podcast. It helps other people know that this podcast has something worth saying. It also would be super awesome if you could take a screenshot and share on Instagram and tag me at Ugly Ventures, UGLI Ventures, VENTURES. I am always so appreciative to hear from you, and I hope to see you back here next week